jabbering away. This will take a minute. Talk amongst yourselves. Mike, how are you?
Not unwell.
Not unwell. How are you dealing with my surgery?
How am I dealing with your surgery?
Yeah.
I'm not dealing with it as much as you are, I can tell you that. No, it's been a bit of a roller coaster, but we're getting through it, because we're that couple, you know. I might be a little biased.
Okay, so it says that we are streaming on YouTube and on TikTok,
Cool.
and it is attempting unfiltered, but it's not doing it, which don't know why. Um, because that's the one that I just set up. Um, don't know what to say about that. Was that you?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're just gonna go with the two channels. Not much I can do about it. Let's wait a sec. Maybe I could try. Let's try just one quick thing. We'll try adding the channel while we're on. Maybe that will work. It's a group, right? Unfiltered. Okay. Unfiltered. Okay. What's your problem? Let's see if that will work. If not, we'll just move on.
It is that time.
It is 7:01, and I have already introduced us, and we were not here last week because of my surgery. I had to have a second surgery, in case you didn't know. I did, and I am now recovered, I guess, and back. And I'm really excited to be here. So I know that we have had a really, really rocky start to our new year, with my surgeries and with a new co host, and with the holidays. Everybody's been too busy to show up. But even though everybody's been too busy to show up, they weren't too busy to show up and wish me well when I had surgery and when I had the second surgery. So for that, I just want to say thank you to everyone. It helped a lot. You have no idea how much it helps. I mean, maybe you do. If you've been through it, Um, it helps so much to know that there's people, thinking about you, especially when things are going sideways. Um, and oh my gosh, so many people across so many, um, you know, platforms, and it was nice. So it will be doubly nice when everybody comes back here and we can all chit chat. But until then, Mike and I will just,
Owen's here. Hey, Owen.
hey, Owen.
I think
So,
it helps him when we start earlier.
yeah, I agree. I personally am good with starting at 7 p.m. Um, on Tuesdays. So I'm good with making it 7 p.m. from now on. If Mike is, that's entirely up to Mike. Um, I'm probably more flexible than he is.
Yeah,
Um,
that should work at least for a while. If something changes, I'll let everybody know.
well, here's the thing, guys. I mean, we can just set it at 2. I mean, at 7. And if I'm here for a few minutes alone, I carried this podcast for 3 years alone. I think I can handle a few minutes waiting for Mike to get on set, right?
I'm chop liver. It's all good.
No, that's not what I said. You see what he does? He does that all the time to me. So I want to point out one thing before we start talking, in case I'm a little wonky. I can't hear very well. So in case you don't know, one of the things that so I've had 3 issues. I had 2 surgeries, and then I had like a crash on Saturday after my surgery, my second surgery. And I say a crash because that's kind of what it was. I just I just crapped out and had to be taken by ambulance to the hospital. And they said that the doctor figured out that I was having I was toxic from my muscle relaxers because I'd been on them for 17 days and they would just built up. And there's this very rare condition. And she was like, it's so rare, but you have all the symptoms. And sure enough, we stopped it. And 24 hours later, I was where I could function again and actually get out of bed. Um, and now I'm good, right? I get up, I do things, I'm pretty darn good, but I still can't hear. So I'm off balance. But I don't have the nausea and everything, but I can't hear. So if I'm
Which
like,
has been
what?
very fun for our relationship, right? Because I have this low register and she's like, huh? What? And I'm like, nothing, nothing.
I can't hear anything he says. He speaks so low. And like if I'm not sitting there right in front of you looking at you, I can't hear. Like I don't even try with the TV. I keep it on like a really low volume and I just turn the captions on. I'm like, I'm not going to bother. So, oh, and here's a fun thing that started when I raise my voice like I just did. I get a radio frequency, like a feedback on a microphone. You know that high pitched feedback you get. I get that in my ear. If I was to close my ear, I get that. Anybody ever experienced that before? It's like the feedback on a microphone. It's horrible, but it does keep me from raising my voice. All right. See, it just did it. Today's topic. What is it, Mike? Do you remember?
True love slash love at first sight. Do you believe in
Soulmate.
it? Does it exist? Is it woo woo?
And do you believe in happily ever after? Do you, are you looking for that happily ever after, or do you believe that those types of things? You know, soulmates, love at first sight, true love, my one and only, and happily ever afters. Do you believe it exists? I am going to save what I want to say
As
until
always.
Mike talks. We're going to let Mike talk about his feelings on this topic. And I'm going to take a drink of my wine.
Wow.
I'm
Okay.
not on
So yeah, throw me under the
any more
bus.
medication.
I'm a skeptic. I'll be honest. I'm not religious. I'm not into anything supernatural. I don't believe in woo woo. I believe in science. I believe in coincidences. I believe in evidence. Right. So when it comes to things like, do you have a soulmate? Are you going to see your loved one in heaven after you die? Are people meant to be together? Is there some sort of divine providence that brings people together? I tend to be very, very skeptical about such things, and I can kind of take it or leave it when it comes to whether I actually believe it or not. However, it's difficult to do so once you find somebody who you feel like you connect with on such a deep level and so perfectly that it's hard not to kind of lean back on that, I would say, evolutionary impulse to believe in things from beyond. And so when Christine and I got together, we've been together 6 months. We celebrated on Valentine's Day, 6 month anniversary. I did. I thought to myself, you know what? If there is, a great pink pixie in the sky or grandfather or
Not a pixie in the sky. Oh my
whatever you want to
gosh.
call it, the spaghetti
I've never heard
monster,
anybody say that.
Allah, God, whatever you want to call it. If something like that exists, then he's done right by me because I feel like things could not have come together more perfectly. Looking back through everything that she and I have been through in our pasts, that had to line up just right for us to end up together at the age and in the time in which we met, it feels divine. So I understand when people say, "Oh, we're soulmates," or "God brought us together," and things like that. Again, I'm a skeptic. It's hard for me to say, yes, that's what I believe, but it is honestly how I feel. So,
So, are you saying you believe in love at first sight and soulmates then?
yes, even from a purely skeptical scientific point of view, I believe that it is possible for two people with the right history, with the right personalities, with the right, you know, biology and chemistry to come together to see each other to realize, wow, this is what I've been looking for all my life. And it's mostly psychological, but there's, some biology and chemistry and anatomy involved. I believe that, yes, love at first sight is entirely possible. Does it mean that, if you do fall in love with someone intensely and that's your forever person, as far as you're concerned, that some divine being made it so? I don't believe that. Okay. But
Okay.
I do believe that people can have that intense of a connection when they first meet or first see each other.
And do you believe that you have more than one great love, more than one soulmate, or that you
That's,
could?
I
Like if
don't.
you and if this cancer kills me, do you think you'll find another soulmate?
Well, that's a really tough question, but honestly, my gut tells me
I guess
no.
that's
I
not
think
fair.
that, it's like when you're arguing about what's the greatest rock band of all time. It's very subjective, okay, and it's based on feelings and emotions and, all that happy crappy, but there definitely is statistically a greatest band of all time. It's going to be, based on different things like did they sell the most records? Did they make the
Sure.
most people happy? There's
Right.
just there's data that backs up, is there a greatest rock band of all time?
Okay.
And so in that sense, is there a perfect person for you? And it's funny because you were watching a show today where they had found some kind of formula or something
A
to
test.
yeah, to make a test where people could find their perfect match. And if you could do that, would you do that? Especially if you were married, would you take the test to see if there's a quote perfect match out there for
Right.
you? Um, and I don't know. I don't like to think about that question because I
Yeah,
think I
because you think I'm your soulmate, but what if
exactly,
you took that
exactly.
test and found out there was somebody more perfect for you than me?
Yeah, F that noise. No, I wouldn't even take the test because, I'd
Yeah.
rather believe that I've found them on my own than using some
I
system.
wouldn't take the test. I have no reason to. No, no. So, do I believe in love? I do. I believe in love at first sight. And as my old co-host would say, that's probably lust at first sight, right? And I agree with him in a lot of cases. It's exactly what it is. But that doesn't mean that it can't be love at first sight. I definitely believe in love at first sight. And I think that if you want to talk proof, it might be anecdotal, but proof is all the older people you know who either had an arranged marriage and never met each other, or met each other and a week later or the next day got married and were married for their entire lives, 70 years, 50 years, and we're absolutely in love. And you talk to them 50 years later and they're like, yeah, I mean, of course we've had our ups and downs. It was a marriage. It was a partnership. You got to work at it. Like Owen said, it needs
That's
to be
what
worked
Owen
on.
says. He says, yes, he believes, but it has to be worked on.
Yeah.
100%.
And, and, for sure, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't love at first sight. I believe that love at first sight is a thing. I do, though, believe that more people have lust at first sight, and that will wan, is that how you say that? It'll wane, it'll lessen over time pretty quickly. A month, 2 months, 3 months usually is about it. Which is the unfortunate thing, because lust, infatuation, that intense butterfly feeling can last for up to like 3 months. And by then, a lot of people are kind of invested. And when they start realizing that they're kind of looking around and, hey, why am I looking around? Well, I'd only be looking around if, am I not in love? And then they feel bad and they're invested, so it's a mess. I think that happens more than true love, but that doesn't mean true love doesn't exist. And as far as soulmates, I definitely believe in soulmates, but I do believe that soulmates are not necessarily always romantic. Therefore, I believe you can have more than one. And I don't mean more than one romantic. I mean, because I honestly, I think a person can love. I think a human being is capable of loving multiple times in a lifetime, for sure, romantically even. But a great love, I think, happens once. And even somebody who's been married, say, for 30 years, and their spouse passes, and they were in love, and then they fell into a nice, comfortable love relationship, a partnership, a friendship, and they were perfectly content until the passing, and then they end up meeting somebody and it's a whirlwind, even at say 50 or 60 years old, it's a whirlwind, and they are in love like they've never been in love before, and they end up having another 15 years with somebody that they've never experienced anything like that, and that is because that is their one true love. That is their, their epic love affair, and it's kind of sad that they didn't get it, for the majority of their life. But how fortunate are they that they got to spend the first part of their life loving somebody, maybe not being, crazy head over heels in love like they are with their soulmate, but a definite acceptable, and I hate to say that because I would never accept that, but an acceptable love. And then to find their true love before they die and get to experience that. So I do think that there's one soulmate romantically. I think you can have um, platonic soulmates. I think sometimes your children, one of your children, say you've got multiple children. I think one of your children could be a soulmate. Um,
My best friend who passed away, I described him as my creative soulmate, right? Because we clicked on everything,
right.
creatively.
I think that the way to know if it's a soul mate is, I mean, I think it's pretty easy to know. It's a different level or depth of feeling. You connect in a deeper way than you do even with your best friend or your best girl or best guy. You click in a different way, in a way that you don't click with others, at least related to, if it's a friendship. Yeah. So I do think that there are definitely soulmates. I think there's multiple soulmates, but romantically, I think you only get one. Um, and I don't want to think you get more than one because come on. Why would it be special then? I mean, you just take the special right out of it if you can have many of them. Then why not just go ahead and use it up for 5 years, get the most out of it, throw it away and go look for the new one, you know? Right?
I'm half there. I'm halfway there with you. Okay. I believe that there is a best possible match for you out there somewhere. And if you happen to find them, that person pretty much qualifies as what, somebody who believes like you do, is a soulmate. Okay. But in order to believe in an actual soulmate, you have to believe in souls, right? And it's something that I would love to believe in.
It's a word. It's a term. They don't actually, it does not have to actually mean spiritual soul. I
Right.
don't.
But you and I have talked about this. It's like, what happens after we die? Do we get to, basically be with each other for
Right.
eternity, and it's a nice thing to believe in. So I absolutely understand people who do believe in the concept of, you
Okay.
and your partner.
I have to stop you and I have to make you talk about this. When we first got together, Mike made it really clear spirituality is a woo-woo thing. I don't believe in any of that. I had my moment and I had my belief and it's gone and to never return. And then after we had been together for only a few weeks, he started talking like, what did he start saying? Things like, the love I feel for you makes me believe in a God. So I'm just saying, you might not have said it just like that, but that's what you
No,
said.
I probably said it makes me want to believe in a God.
You've said it many times, and over the months, you've come closer to accepting that there must be something, especially when I got sick. So you can deny it
It
all you want.
certainly feels that way. I'm not going to lie. And again, I am the product of millions of years of human evolution, and human beings have a proclivity to believe in things from the beyond. So it doesn't surprise me that I would like to believe that I found my soulmate, that when we die, we get to exist together for eternity. But okay, so we're kind of getting away from like the main drive of, what we were going to talk about tonight, which is, does love at first sight exist? Is it real?
We're not getting away from it.
Well, soulmates is a little bit of a different topic though. Like, is there a person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with
That is
that's
why
perfect
I
for
that's
you for
you didn't
eternity or whatever?
You didn't say soulmates. That's why I made sure to add soulmates, because soulmates was part of the topic.
Right. So in the description will be slash soulmates. No, I get
Yeah.
that. I'm just I want to kind of pivot back to
Okay. True
is
love.
love at first sight real? Because the reason I want to do that is because you had said something about love at first sight on your social media, and I had made a joke,
Oh,
um, very sarcastic joke about, yeah, right, love at first sight, and then I kind of made fun of the concept, and you got so upset because you and I had talked about how we felt like, yeah, for us it was pretty much love at first sight, and here I was kind of making fun of the concept, and of course I took it down and I backtracked and I was like, no, no, actually here's what I meant, blah blah blah. But realistically, is love at first sight real?
well, and I touched on that when I was just speaking, and I said I
Uh,
believe, because anecdotally you can point to like sailors going to war and getting married overnight to a woman before they left, because they wanted to know there was someone waiting for them back home. Um, and they claimed, love at first sight. There are plenty of, especially older, that it doesn't really happen much anymore, but back in the turn of the century and up until probably the 50s 40s, it was much more common for somebody, and they were usually young, and they got married very quick. It was sort of common. They'd get married in weeks, and stay married forever. And they got married on what they called love at first sight, and other people called lust. That just happened to, it was a gamble they took that just happened to work. But those people who were going through it would argue with you, no, it was love at first sight. It was love at first sight. I looked at this woman and I was like, I'm going to marry her. She's my person, period. And, it's like I was leaving to, war the next day. So I locked her down before I left because I had no doubt. But you just met her. Yeah. And I had no doubt. And then they stayed married for 50 years and had a whole, kids and grandkids, and, and it happened, and it can happen. And so, yes, I do believe it's true. But like I said, I think that too many people, I think lust at first sight is more common now, especially. Well, it's always been common.
yeah,
Um,
infatuation, and then eventually the honeymoon phase is over, and it's like, yeah, clearly this was not love at first sight; it was something else.
And unfortunately, today, the problem is that too many people, when they fall out of love because they fall out of that honeymoon phase, they just get divorced. Divorce is just so easy now. So they just get divorced. And so they're married 3, 4, 5 times because they just get divorced. Oh, well, I guess I wasn't in love. It was just, whatever. I didn't know you. So, you know, it can be, but like me and my wife, it was not. It took a little time. Yeah, Owen's wife didn't like him when they first met. You got married after 6 months, yeah, but she was not about Mr. Owen when she first met him. Um, right, Owen? And I remember when it's funny because when I met Mike, when I met him virtually online, I was very interested, and I was very, like, kinda smitten when we first stop it. When we first started talking, but it took a couple weeks, but I really cooled off with that, and there was a reason, and it was because he drug his feet. He didn't ask me out or anything, and he would let a few days pass, and he wouldn't talk to me. So, and it was funny because kind of like every time he'd come back and say something, I'd be like, "Oh," I mean, it's not like I had forgotten about him, but kind of, because I didn't. In the beginning, I invested my some brain on him, some energy towards him, because I thought, I liked the way he looked. I loved our conversation, and it excited me, the thought of maybe cultivating something with someone that I seem to have so much in common with. But then he would disappear. He would be gone, and he wouldn't be talking to me, but he'd be online, and I'm like, okay, well, so you know what happens? You kind of protect yourself. You're like, okay, don't invest any time into this person, because what is the point? You're just gonna get hurt. Um, you're wasting your time. But I still talked to him whenever he would reach out because I enjoyed talking to him. But the pattern proved to be a pattern, and he didn't ask me out, and he continued to disappear, come back, while being online the whole time. And I was not wrong because when we did finally start talking about actually dating, before he actually asked me out, the week that led to him asking me out, he started talking to me about the fact that he was dating other people. So I knew, okay, well, it's just me. It's just me. So when I get confirmation that, okay, he's dating other people, but he's not asking me out, then that just solidifies the whole thought of keep your distance from this guy romantically. Just talk to him because it's enjoyable to talk to him. So I did that. So when he finally did ask me out, it took me a moment. I mean, I was fine. I was like, I guess. I kind of busted his chops a little bit over it, like, why are you asking me out? Like, I really didn't think you were interested. And but I didn't do that much, just a little bit. And then I'm like, sure. And then when I went to meet him, I wasn't wholly invested. But I recently I saw the TikTok that I did when I was going to meet him. And because the way I remembered it was, and this is true, but I forgot half of the equation. So I remember the part where I wasn't invested, and it was the first time I was heading to a date, and I wasn't nervous at all. I did not care one way or the other whether we liked each other or not, whether it panned out or not. It didn't matter, and I liked that because I was really relaxed. I just wanted to go and meet him and say hi, have a drink, and enjoy myself. But on the video, the TikTok that I made, I had hope. There was a part of me that was like, but maybe the person that I saw in the beginning, maybe that's still there. Because if that is, that was pretty nice. So it wasn't a lot, but there were some. There were some. And yeah, I mean, it it's interesting because if he had asked me out right away, then I would be sitting here saying, I think I would be sitting here saying, "Oh god, it was definitely love at first sight." But because of the way he played it, I really can't say that.
Mr. Long Game, yeah.
Yeah. But how did you feel about me? I mean,
So
you're the one that was,
here's where I think we differ linguistically. When we say love at first sight, I don't think we mean the same thing
okay.
because, well, okay, I definitely fell in lust at first sight. Okay, when I saw your profile picture and some of your photos, I was done. I was like, all right, this person's at the top of my list. If I have an opportunity to endear her to me and I go out on a date with her, it'll be amazing if she gives me the time of day. But so I did. I felt like you were separate and different and out of my league and all the things. Okay. But love at first sight happened when we actually met and our eyes locked and we had conversation.
Oh
And
no, I agree with you.
okay.
I would not have said that the love at first sight happened online. I'm just saying because we had all that dead time, it cooled off all my feelings and it put up a protective wall. So there was no way I
Which,
was
as
going to
it
meet
turns
you.
out, may have been for the best, right? Because you didn't have any nervousness. You were like, this could go either way, but I
Maybe,
hope it goes, one way.
but it did insulate me
Yes.
from having any kind of love at first sight.
Right. I guess for you, maybe it was love at second sight. Who knows? Right?
Yeah, or maybe third.
Third. Oh, see, Owen says the second date changed it for him. So
Yes, because she was not about Owen on the first date. Yeah, Owen is persistent. Fortunately, he didn't have to be too persistent, but he was persistent enough to see her again, even though the first date wasn't great. And it paid off because they have been married now how long, Owen? 25 years, 30 years? Actually longer than that.
a long damn time,
Like 40 years?
which is awesome and commendable and incredible.
Yeah.
Yay, monogamy.
Yeah. Well, I actually don't know when they got married. Oh no, he said 6 months later. So yeah, and I'm pretty sure they were. It was in the 80s. No, I know it was. So yeah, 30s or 30 or 40 years. He'll tell us. Um,
46 years. Wow.
46. See, yeah, yeah, that's and they have had their challenges. They have had their challenges for sure. Um, not quite as quickly as Mike and I have tried to make things
We
in.
have to do everything super quickly because,
Yeah,
when
we
you're
don't have
over
that
50,
much time.
everything happens super quickly. So you don't have a whole lot of time left, right?
Yeah. So okay, 1980. Yeah. So 45 years, 46. Yeah, 46 years. So all right, so love at first sight, we agree. We believe it exists. Um but we do believe it starts with lust at first sight, right? Um and I believe lust and love at first sight can happen almost simultaneously. I believe that, and the reason why is because I believe that when you fall in love with somebody very quickly, the lust and the love sort of, you know, are together. They combine.
I have a theory, okay?
Huh.
I think this is completely just me. There's no scientific evidence to back this
Guys,
up.
there's nothing scientific to what we say.
This is all just speculation, okay? But I
Okay.
think it might be possible, actually more possible, to fall in love at first sight when you're older because you already have been through a lot of life. You know what you're looking for, you know what you want, you know the kind of person you've always wanted, hopefully by the time you're 50.
Right.
And when you finally meet that person, it's easier to fall in love with them immediately because they check off all the boxes like, wow, this is the person.
Right.
It's not as easy to do that when you're a kid, when you're young, when you're, just figuring life out. Because honestly, at that, when you're in your early 20s or whatever, even up into your 30s, you don't necessarily even know what you want out of life. We watched a
Well,
show about a
yeah.
lady who left her husband, who he ended up being a schmuck, but she left him even after dating him and saying that he was the perfect guy. And her parents were like, "You should marry the guy." She left him because I haven't figured myself out yet. And a lot of that happens when you're very young. But again, by the time you're in your late 40s, early 50s, hopefully you've got a lot of life figured out and you know what you want out of life. And it's, I would say, easier to have love at first sight when you finally see that person
I
that
agree.
life experiences have led you to believe that, yes, this is the person, and I'm jumping in with both feet. And what is love other than an action? It's a combination of a feeling and an action. Not only do I feel strongly that this is my person, but I'm going to act on it, devote myself to them. That's love at first sight.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I do think I know I didn't learn what I truly wanted a relationship to look like or the type of person I wanted to be with entirely until I was 59, probably 60. Um, and it took me a while of concentrated effort to figure it out. It's not that easy. And you have to have, I mean, let's face it, you have to have other relationships in order to figure that out. I mean, or you have to be exposed to a lot of different types of relationships. So you can look at them and say, yeah, no, I don't want that in a relationship. I don't want that in a relationship, but I do want that, and so on and so forth. But definitely if you're older, if you're 50 and above and you're divorced and you cannot say definitively what you want. If somebody were to ask you, what does your relationship look like to you, the one that you want? Describe the relationship and the person to me. Go. If you can't, now, okay, I'm going to put a caveat to this. When I get put on the spot like that, it's hard for me to think. Mike knows. Don't ask me anything like that. Pointed questions, they're horrible. But even though I would have a hard time getting started, I would have to really calm my brain and start thinking about it. I would be able to tell you, okay, look, And I would probably start with the relationship in the way I don't want it to look, and then I'd start talking about the way I want it to look, and then I would lead into me talking about what I want him to look like, how I want him to be. And when I say look like, it's truly not about the appearance. Sure, I have a type, but I'm also extremely um, eclectic when it comes to everything, and that includes the looks of the person I might be
I've
attracted to.
seen your playlist. You're all over the place.
I am, and that's not. I'm not a mixed up mess either. I like everything that's on there, and I'm the same way about people. I can be attracted to some really off the wall shit, and Mike's the same way.
Yeah.
Mike could see a woman that he traditionally would find not attractive at all, but if he started talking to her or something, or saw her talking, and she did something mentally, psychologically, that he picked up on, he could have an attraction. And it could be something, and we have not talked about this, and he could sit here and try to claim it's not true, but I know him, and he could end up having an attraction towards somebody that he's going to sit there and go, what? Never in a million years would I have ever thought that I'd find any attraction in that person. But he could, and I'm the same way. So when it comes to physical appearance, that's really at the bottom of the list. All the other stuff I would be able to tell you. And here's the thing: when you know what you want in a relationship, I agree with Mike. I think it makes it a lot easier to find true love and to know what you want. But it also opens you up for criticism from other people. And they're going to be all over you, not just the opposite sex that you're saying, yeah, not interested, but also your family and friends. People are going to start coming out of the woodwork telling you, you're too picky. You are just get prepared to be alone. And here's the thing. When they told me that, I said, I am prepared to be alone, and I'm okay with that. See, because I'm not being picky. I know what I want. I know what will make me happy. Why the hell would I set myself up to be unhappy and to make that person unhappy? If I can't find what it is I'm looking for, I will be okay, because I have a choice. Either have the kind of relationship that will make me and him happy, or be alone and be happy. There's nothing in between. I'm not settling. Period. And men told me all the time, I really, one of their last parting words to me when I told them I wasn't interested was, well, you really need to think about not being so picky. You're going to end up alone.
Yeah, what they mean is you really need to think about settling. There probably is not such a thing as a soulmate, right?
Right.
I'm a huge Chris Rock fan, right? And
Yeah.
one of his bits is there is no perfect relationship. There's not a perfect person out there for you, and even if there is, they're going to be married to somebody else. Like, oh, hi, kitty. All right,
Right.
now
They'll
I'm
be
chopped
married.
liver because we have feline attraction. But
Yes, they will be, as Alanis Morissette says, and then I met his beautiful wife. Um,
right.
I met the man of my dreams, and then I met his beautiful wife. That is life. So, yeah.
What
Don't
do you do
settle.
in that situation? What do you do if you meet somebody who you honestly believe could be your soulmate and they're married to someone else? Do you cheat?
Shit, no, hell no. What do you mean, do you cheat? Would your soulmate be a cheater?
Not mine.
Okay.
That's a universal you. I'm asking everybody. Like
Well,
if
no,
you
I
honestly
understand.
felt,
But I think if you think about that question, I don't think one of the traits you're going to put on your list of must-haves is, yeah, he needs to be someone that would be unfaithful to me.
right. Well, that's okay. And I loved Owen's answer earlier when we were asking. So if we watched this sci-fi show where you could take a test and find out if you have a perfect match, if you have a soulmate, and they would let you meet them. If you could do that, would you do that if you were already married? Owen said no. I also said no. I think you also said no, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
It's like
Why? I'm perfectly happy.
I think that all of us tonight, including Owen, have hit on, the idea that soulmates aren't just, inspiration, they're also perspiration, right? Like it's not, yes, you may have that connection immediately, but to keep that connection, it requires work. right?
Right. Right. Eh, And like for Owen, 46 years. Why
Wow.
the why the hell does he want to know if there's someone out there that was a better fit? The blood, sweat, and tears that he and his wife have put into their relationship and survived, you're not going to stop, 3 feet from gold. You're not going to stop right before the what is it called? The line you cross when you win,
The finish line.
the finish line. I have cancer brain, guys. I'm sorry.
Yes. You have a
Yeah, the
perfect
finish
excuse
line.
for everything. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not gonna throw it away. Now, some people do, and they almost always regret it. You know. Um, yeah. Yeah, you're just not going to. No, I would not want to know. I would not, bring on the tests. Not for me. Now, would I do it if I was single?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, yeah, I would, for sure. There's my foot.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of technology. I'll even use AI from time to time to generate images. Heavens to Murgatroyd.
Guys, I'm gonna lean back here. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I'm still recovering, guys. I gotta lean back a little. Um, yeah, Mike uses AI. He's one of those people that will make pictures with AI.
Oh, we just lost half our listeners. No, it's funny. Like, it's a very polarizing subject. But I think love at first sight is also a bit polarizing. Again, you know me, I'm a skeptic. I don't believe in any woo woo. And on paper, I don't believe in it because there's no evidence that it actually exists other than anecdotal evidence, right? And
Yep.
that's something that, especially in recent years, people say, well, I'm living my truth, right? They say things
Yeah.
like, lived experience matters just as much as evidence, right?
Yeah.
And I can't completely discount that because the human mind is so mysterious. We don't know, even with all of the scientific evidence in the world, we honestly don't know how consciousness works, right? We
Yeah.
don't know how our brain is connected to the universe or any of that stuff. It's all guesswork and trial and error. And so, could love at first sight exist? Could soulmates exist? Absolutely. I would say never. And anecdotal experience and lived experience absolutely matters, which is why now that I feel like I've met someone who is my soulmate, it is much easier for me to say, yeah, 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 I believe it, because I've lived it.
So what about your happily ever after?
Oh gosh. Well, it's certainly been sold to us since we were little kids, right? That's the end of every fairy tale is, and they lived happily ever after.
Yep. Happily ever after.
I
Yeah, they
haven't seen any evidence of that in my family's lives, stretching back to as far as I know, my great great grandparents. There was no happily ever after. We all face death, we all face suffering, we all face
Okay, what do
tragedy,
you're gonna
loss.
have to tell me your definition of happily ever after.
Well, it's the notebook, right? It's the perfect happy ending. Happily ever after is meet young, you die together in your sleep when you're old. That's happily ever after. There's no suffering, there's no,
Okay.
hardship, there's no breakups, there's no.
That that is just a fantasy.
Yeah.
So my definition of happily ever after is you meet someone that is your soulmate. I don't care how old you are. Okay. Um, the fact is, we're talking about having the life that would give you a happily ever after, right? The best life imaginable for you. So I don't care what age you are, as long as you meet that person and you're able to act on it. You end up with your soulmate and you stay together and you love each other and you're there for each other as you pass. That is a happily ever after. You I mean, obviously, it goes without saying. I'm not saying you're not homeless, you're not struggling, the government's not bashing down your door and taking your home from you. You may be living a very simple life. very modest life. It's not a materialistic thing. That's not your happily ever after. Your happily ever after is emotional, and it's love. It's emotional. It's a connection with your soulmate, and it's getting connected, staying connected, and dying together, connected. That's happily ever after. And
Yeah, and I think that everybody secretly wants that, whether they admit it or not, right? Again,
right,
we're
and they
all
don't all get it.
for sure we don't all
Right.
get
But
it.
but
Some
people
people
who
have been
have a
married and
but
divorced
people who
20
have
times, and
right, but people who have a some fantasy book fairy tale idea of happily ever after, oh, I'm going to meet a prince, I'm going to meet a princess like girl, we're going to be high school sweethearts, and we're going to get married, and we're going to have 2.5
okay,
kids, and
now you say all those things with a little bit of ridicule, which is understandable.
because
But
well,
don't
just
you,
let me
when you watch
finish.
Snow White or Sleeping Beauty, don't you get a little bit emotional at the end when the princess ends up with the sunset, and that's their happily ever after? I mean, don't doesn't that tug
Yeah,
at
but
your
they're not high
heartstrings a little
school
bit?
sweethearts. Or whatever, because yes, what I described. That is what I described. When you meet your soulmate, whatever age you are blessed. You are fortunate, whatever you want to call it. It's something not everybody gets. And if you are fortunate enough to find, meet, marry your soulmate, whatever age you are, and stay with them until that is a happily ever after, equivalent to Cinderella in my description. But what I don't like, and what I don't subscribe to, and what I wouldn't try to sell to my kids, is that you should meet somebody when you're 13 and 15, and you should stay together, fall in love, and have kids, and you'll die together. And no, you are setting your kids up for failure and disappointment. You don't you shouldn't tell them that it's going to be the first person. You should explain to them that there might be trial and error, and they won't even know what it looks like. And
You know what
unfortunately,
though? They're not gonna effing listen to you. Kids
no,
will
they're
not
not.
listen to you
But
if
that's
they
not the
meet.
point.
I,
That's
I
not the
promise you,
point.
the first
You
person,
That's
the
not the
first guy
point.
that your daughter meets in college, and she marries him, she's not gonna listen to you.
That's not the point. The point is to raise your kids with realistic expectations, not a Disney fairy tale. Raise them with realistic expectations. Don't sell your kids a bill of sale that is impossible to achieve. That's all. They don't have to listen to you, but when you raise your kids in a certain environment, whether they like it or not, it rubs off. You know.
Well, I think Owen hit the nail on the head. He said we all want that, right? The fairy tale ending, the happily ever after, but too many won't work at it, And so I think you can have a little bit of both, right? There's always a balancing act. It's like, yes, you can have happily ever after, but you got to be willing to work at it,
Yeah,
right? You can find a soulmate, but to
nobody
keep it,
said
you
that
got to work at it. You can have
right.
a happily ever after, but for it to really happen, you got to work at it. So yes,
Nobody
Owen,
said
perfectly
nobody
said.
said that if you are with your soulmate, you don't have to work at it. Soulmate is not equivalent to everything is easy peasy in the relationship. You're still two human beings with emotions and feelings and opinions, and you are going to disagree at times.
And an
But the
occasional argument even.
yeah, but the difference is what Owen's saying. The difference is that when you are soulmates and you're connected at that level,
You're both
you
willing to work at it.
not only that, but you have a certainty inside of you. You have a level of trust and certainty in you that it doesn't matter how much you argue, it's not going to be the end. You just have a knowing in you that you didn't have in other relationships. Other relationships, you walked on eggshells. You're scared to death that, oh, this is the argument they're going to walk out. They can't take me anymore. They can't handle me anymore. With your soulmate, if you are fortunate enough to find someone that connects to you on that level, they will accept you for who you are, and they will the test of time will prove to you that you are safe to be you, and that they love you, and you guys can argue and disagree, but and even if heaven forbid you do go to bed angry, she or he is still going to be there in the morning, and they are not going to be hitting you with we need to talk and want a divorce or a separation.
Right. Oh, and that's super sweet. He said you two are the perfect example of it. Um, I mean, yes, we absolutely feel like we are soulmates. We feel like a happily ever after is very realistic for us, just based on what we've been through in life and our plans. Okay, but we didn't have love at first sight quite. Right. It wasn't quite love at first sight. It was like love at second or third sight. So
Don't let him fool you. He fell in love with me the minute I stepped out of the car.
well, I said we, right? I mean, yeah, me myself.
He sat across from me in that bar, and he's like just so in love.
Yeah, the love goggles came out immediately. But I didn't say it first, right? Remember?
Yeah, you did. You know what he did, people? You know what he did?
You love
He
telling on me, don't you?
he said it in a way that he thought it protected him. So if I didn't say it back, he could be like, "Well, I was just kidding." I said it like that. How'd you say it, Mike?
I said I fucking love you.
Fucking love you. Like that. So when I reiterated it, not right back, I did not write back, but when I reiterated it, whenever it was a few days later, he said, "Oh, you said it first." I'm like, "Hell, I did."
You said the words "I love you"
And
first.
you said, and as I told him, you said "fucking love you." He's like, "That doesn't mean," yeah. It's such a guy
All
thing to
right,
do.
we should do a poll like on the Facebook page. If somebody says "I fucking love you,"
He
does it
did
mean
not
the same
say,
thing to you as "I love you"?
yes, it is.
Okay, agree to disagree, right? Of course,
Whatever.
I meant it. I just didn't want to be the
We
putz
we
who
know
says it
you meant
first. You
it.
know, it's.
You were hiding behind semantics.
I agree.
Whatever.
Yeah, no, you're right.
He was a scared little baby, afraid that I wouldn't love him back.
Well, if it's not reciprocated, right? You don't want to be that putz, right? Who says, "Oh, I love you," and then she's like, "Oh, yeah,
That's uncomfortable.
that's great. Yes, we can keep
I
dating."
I don't know what he thought, because I did not say it back.
No, she
He
did
probably
not.
was like, "Whew, dodged
No,
that
I
bullet."
fucking love you too. Would you care to express your affection in a less profane way? I might
Hey,
reciprocate.
he did not say "I fucking love you, man." If he had said "I fucking love you, man," that'd be different.
Well, yeah, it would be different. You're not a man.
You call me bro and dude.
I do. Oh, don't get me cracking up. I have a heart attack here online.
He's like Fred Sanford on Sanford and
Oh,
Sons. If
this
you
is the
ever
big
watch,
one. I'm coming to join you, honey.
when I
Yeah.
make him laugh, he'll start laughing, and he'll start. What do you do, Mike?
I said, oh, please, God, not like this. Yeah. Because I have high blood pressure, right? I get to laughing and I can't breathe, and I can feel like my face turning red. And she does it to me, not all the time. Okay, I would say she has a good like zinger at least once a week, though, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. She's trying to kill me with
Hey,
laughter.
I haven't had a good one in at least a month.
I guess
Right?
I'm not as funny as I thought, fellas.
No, I got my boobs cut off.
No, that's true. Yeah,
I've been
and
in
honestly, I
pain.
haven't been pushing the jokes too much lately either.
No, I'm the funny one.
You are the funny one. Funny, strange. There's funny,
Uh,
haha, and there's funny, strange. Like, oh, gee, that's
yeah,
funny.
I know. You're just funny to look at.
Funny looking. Oh my gosh. Well,
I told you I'm funny.
we're coming up on an hour. We should do we have any final thoughts on what was it? We covered love at first sight, we covered soulmates, and we covered oh, what are you doing? Oh, it's a kitty. And we covered happily ever afters. So that's a three-part title I'm gonna have to work on.
Well,
Um,
I've had fun. I'm glad to be back. Hopefully, so they have started taking the bandages off my incision, or I guess now it's called a wound, whatever. And it looks good. So hoping there's nothing icky going on under there, and it's all behind me, and I get to continue to progress. That's the hope.
oh,
Um,
you should plug your other show because you talk more about that on After Dark.
After Dark, yes. So Unfiltered After Dark. I actually have a Facebook group, so you can go join it. Unfiltered After Dark. I want to put a link on our group, but I don't want to offend people. We have a lot of people in our in this that listen to this podcast, but they're in our Facebook group and they are very mainstream. I don't I don't know what they'll think about the fact that I have a podcast where I just say whatever the heck I want. Um, because they came to me when I was with Chris, and Chris and I had a very different show. Um, so I don't know. So I'm not going to. The point is, I'm not going to put a link on that Facebook group page. But if you go on Facebook and you search "Unfiltered After Dark," that's all it is. It doesn't say Unfiltered After Dark with Honey. The podcast is Unfiltered After Dark with Honey, HUNNY. But the Facebook group is just Unfiltered After Dark. Go find it and join.
You don't
Um,
want me to post a link to the Facebook group?
I'm going to put the name of it
Okay.
in the description so you guys will know how it's spelt and you just go search for it and join. And I'd appreciate it because, and go listen to the podcast. I've started my weekly. I do a once a week right now. And since my surgery, I've done two. So I did one last week. I'm going to do one this week, maybe tomorrow. So yeah, go join. And and I keep talking about sporadically. I talk about this Patreon. I don't know if I'm ever going to get the Patreon going. I've got so many other things happening. I keep saying I'm going to do it, and I really want to. I just don't know if I have it in me to do it.
I have a feeling that we're going to reach that point within the next 6 months. Yeah, just
And
based on our conversations,
that's
including
probably what.
domain name conversations and other things. So,
Yeah, and that's probably what's going to happen is the Patreon's probably just going to kind of sit there until we've got so much interest that it makes sense to really start putting content in it. We do have some things on the horizon. And I do talk about it on Unfiltered After Dark. I'm very excited. I think Mike's excited about it too.
maybe.
We do have like a name for the new podcast that I will be doing. And I know you guys, I know you're like, how many fucking podcasts can you have? Look, check out people who podcast. They tend to have multiple podcasts. I mean, we like talking. Have you noticed? And I have a whole bunch of new stuff I want to talk about. And it's really not, it's way bigger than just doing it here occasionally or doing it on my After Dark occasionally. It needs its own platform. So
So, how can people contact us if they want to, share ideas for the show or congratulate you on your recovery or anything like that?
on my new boobless frame, I can be reached at real talk with Christine, CHRISTINE @gmail.com. And you?
Shitlesspodcast@gmail.com. Yeah,
And those
I
both
also have multiple podcasts. So,
will be in the description along with our other podcast names. I'm not going to put the actual links. But I am putting the names. So if you're interested, just go to your favorite platform and search it. We have discovered that if you go straight to our platform, rss.com, where we store our podcast, it's kind of wonky sometimes. So I don't recommend that you go to rss.com. I recommend that you use, Apple, Spotify,
Whichever platform you're most
iHeart.
comfortable using,
Yeah,
yeah.
Pandora. We're on all of them. So whichever one that you listen to, search for us there. If you listen to on a certain platform and we are not on it, then let me know. Or
YouTube
you
is
can,
probably the most important though, because if we do end up monetizing, it'll be through YouTube. So
yeah, and again, that's going to be in the description. But what I was going to say was, not everybody likes to go into YouTube and stream the YouTube. Some people just like their podcast. Um, if we're not on your platform, you can contact them and tell them, hey, get this on. Or you could just contact me and we'll get it. We'll submit our podcast and get it put on your whatever platform you like. So just talk to us, guys. Tell us what you want. We are here to serve you. Mike loves that.
Thank you, everybody who tuned in this evening. We had several lurkers, and Owen, of course. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Owen.
Just everybody be safe, and
Yes.
good luck finding your person, your soulmate.
Hope you all
Falling
had
in
a
love at
good,
first sight. It's real, okay? Whether it's scientific or divine, it's freaking real. I can promise you that. So.
hope you guys had a good Valentine's Day. And have a great week and weekend until we see you again next Tuesday or on our other podcasts, which again, you can find the names. See you Tuesday or on the group. Bye.